Studio, mics are up. Good morning, Lagos. You're tuned in and listening to Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. You're officially welcome inside the locker room where we talk sports. It's with Valentine.
And Folu.
And joining us, we have Biola at Be Orlicious. Good morning.
Good morning.
Joining us, we have Biola at Be Orlicious. Good morning.
Good morning. How was your weekend, guys?
It was a good weekend.
Yes, very good.
It
Very
was.
good for the world of sports and filled, of course, with sports. And we're ready to delve into every one of them this morning.
Yes. Communicate with us on our different platforms.
Yes, Lagos, send us a message through WhatsApp. That WhatsApp number is 0809 Also use that hashtag LockerRoom981 on Twitter at Smooth981FM. And of course, leave us a comment on YouTube, our YouTube channel, Smooth981FM.
All right, now let's delve into our first sports story this morning. The 2018 Africa Women Cup of Nations contenders learned their opening round fate on Saturday, with Nigeria pitted against South Africa in a tasty group stage draw. So the Super Falcons were seeded ahead of Accra, meaning that they couldn't be paired with host Ghana in the opening round of next month's tournament. Meanwhile, Ghana were pooled into Group A alongside Cameroon, Mali, and Algeria, while defending champions Nigeria, headlining Group B, will meet South Africa, Kenya, and Zambia. The hosts will also kick off the tournament against North African representatives Algeria on the 17th of November at the Accra Sports Stadium, while Nigeria and South Africa will clash in a heavyweight showdown at the Cape Coast Sports Stadium. The final, that will take place in Accra on the 1st of December, with both finalists and the winner of the third place playoff all qualifying for the 2019 Women's World Cup.
Yeah, we had been waiting for that draw for a very, very long time. The tournament begins on the 17th of November, so that draw had to be made even earlier than it was made on Sunday. But we've seen it, and the first thing I thought was, South Africa again. Very familiar foes. I remember in the last edition in 2016 how difficult it was for the Super Falcons to beat the South Africans 1-0, and somehow, some way, Desire Paranozie got that goal for the Super Falcons. But then South Africa, also, one of the strongest sides in Africa, even though they haven't won this championship before, crazily, because of course we've been dominating it. But then I think South Africa might be the most difficult opponents in that group. Kenya, on the other hand, found a way to qualify after Equatorial Guinea messed up and got disqualified. On the other hand, have never gone beyond the quarterfinals, and that was back then in 1995. But the thing here is, women's football in Africa has been growing. Underdogs are coming up. Equatorial Guinea, which might have been the Super Falcons, they run for their money, didn't make it here by their own mistakes. So I think it was very, very fair. But the second group, on the other hand, Ghana, Cameroon, 4 times finalists for the last 2 editions against the Super Falcons. I think that group looks like Ghana, the host, and Cameroon might scale too. So I am looking at Ghana and Cameroon going out of Group A, and then Nigeria and South Africa, of course, from Group B. So we're looking forward to that tournament.
Solid predictions. We look forward to that. The Kimi Raikkonen now. Let's talk Formula One. Kimi Raikkonen enjoyed his first Formula One win in 113 races, and his first since returning to Ferrari from Lotus 4 years ago, while Red Bull's Max Verstappen came from 18th on the grid to finish second. Hamilton had to make do with another podium finish at the Circuit of Americas in Texas, one place ahead of his title challenger Sebastian Vettel of Ferrari. Now, Raikkonen overtook the Mercedes through turn 1 after lights out and did not look like stopping.
We did not see this coming at all. The first thing I thought was, oh my God, plot twist. It was a real big plot twist. Kimi Raikkonen, of all people.
Yes.
I mean, if you were considering the possible winners for the US Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton would win it and win the championship. If he wasn't going to win it, Vettel would win it and then extend, of course, cuts down Lewis Hamilton's lead, or maybe even Verstappen, but out of nowhere, starting the race in blazing form, Kimi Raikkonen. Out of nowhere, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was a really, really good one. Kimi Raikkonen is that racer that everyone had ruled out. He's 39 years old. People have even wondered why he's even still racing and racing for Ferrari for that matter. And then out for 113 races. He hasn't won in 113 races now, and finally coming out of nowhere was a big shock. Of course, we know it was just postponing the inevitable because all Lewis Hamilton needs to do in the next Grand Prix in Mexico is get 5 points. That's all. He just needs to get to 7th at least, and then he wins that. But seeing Kimi Raikkonen winning the top spot in one race this year is one thing no one saw coming, and it was a massive one. Good race, very, very exciting. Good race from Verstappen. I think Mercedes made a whole lot of mistakes, delaying as to say the pit stop for Lewis Hamilton, the second pit stop, a whole lot of mistakes from Vettel as well. But good for Kimi Raikkonen. All those mistakes led to his winning, and he had a fantastic race as well. I think he was just determined to at least win one more race, win one more race before I retire or leave Ferrari, and he really had that yesterday. Very, very interesting.
Fantastic.
Very interesting.
Thank you very much for that. Now on to the WTA Finals. Karolina Pliskova beat defending champion Caroline Wozniacki 6-2. The event round robin group will progress with the final on the 20th.
Wozniacki and Petra Kvitova were definitely favorites going into those two games. Caroline Wozniacki, defending champion. It looked like Karina Pliskova was out for revenge because Wozniacki beat her in the semi-final of this same tournament last year, and she got a revenge. Yes, she got nobody vexed except Caroline Wozniacki, of course. But Caroline Wozniacki just mentioned, okay, it was a slip-up, and she'll bounce back in the next round-robin game. The second game, Elena Svitolina, who had lost her last Kvitova. I did not give her a chance, but she had a blazing game. She finished it very, very quickly and beat Kvitova. So it's just the round robin phase, and anything can happen. It can still swing either way. Today we'll be seeing big games. Daka taking on Slow. That's definitely the big one. Then so the WTA Finals, the WTA season, and it's always very exciting. We'll see who wins it again.
All right.
Well done. Let's move on to this one now. Ross Barkley's stoppage time equalizer denied Jose Mourinho's Manchester United victory at Chelsea as following a heated 2-2 draw. Now, substitute Barkley turned home in the 96th minute from close range, prompting Chelsea's second assistant Marco Arni to run across Mourinho's path in celebration, which angered the United manager and in turn sparked scuffles on the sidelines and in the tunnel. Now, Chelsea had taken the lead through Antonio Rudiger's header from Williams' corner, thanks to some suspect marking. But 2 second-half goals from Anthony Martial turned the game around in United's favour before Barkley's last gasp leveller caused an eruption on the sideline. And I think this is the best commentary regarding that goal because it was so unexpected on that day.
Really. I think what happened on the sidelines kind of dampened the game and made everybody forget about Manchester United having a really good second half.
Yes.
Chelsea dominated that first half, and it looked like it was going to be the usual thing, looking like they might beat Manchester United again.
They were nowhere to be found.
And then in the second half, it was a complete turnaround. Anthony Martial, proving the critics wrong recently, scored 2 goals almost out of nowhere because Manchester United had a really good half. Barkley having that 96 minutes goal was stunning. Of course, Manchester United fans were really deflated. Jose Mourinho looked really deflated on the touchline as well, and that is really expected. I mean, leading 2-1 up to the 96 minutes was something. I mean, it would have been very big United win like that. You know, the way they came back against Newcastle in the previous game, it seemed that was what was going to happen again. Then all of a sudden we just saw fight everywhere. And I think what Ayani did though, coming from the Chelsea box to celebrate right in front of Jose Mourinho. I mean,
That was rude. Yes, we do blame him.
It
That
was
rude.
rude.
And it was
Jose
deliberate,
Mourinho had
and it was
been
insightful.
had been calm all through the game, and it just seemed like he wanted to infuriate him,
Just
and that
disrespectful.
happened. He apologized at the end of it all,
should have
but
fined him.
then it was disrespectful. Maybe Jose Mourinho should have reacted that way,
Yeah,
maybe.
I
But
thought it was a bit
it's
excessive.
football and it's emotions. You just consider a 96
Excuse me,
minutes goal,
why don't you find
and you
the
come and
troublemaker?
dance in front of me.
The
No.
troublemaker.
No, that guy went to
You
look
were
for
so
trouble.
sure.
Now.
So how did Mourinho react? Actually, I was.
He ran towards him, was going to beat him up.
Yes.
He was going to beat him up.
Oh man, calm down.
Like he followed him into the
As
dugout.
soon as that guy did that,
Yes.
there should have been a technical violation.
That was wrong.
Because in a football game, you know that is inciting. You know that anything can happen as a direct result
Yes.
of that action.
And not just the referee or the players,
I
the
mean,
fans. as
What
well.
do you expect
Yes.
from a coach that
Yes.
just considered a 96 minutes goal?
What? Hey, it wasn't
First off,
having
that game shouldn't have gone into 96 minutes. So that was really, it was really angry. Now come and celebrate in front of him. And it's Mourinho. If it's someone else, it's like he just wanted
If not
Mourinho
Zidane,
to
headbutt,
react.
straight.
Telling you.
You are mad. You're
What?
daddy.
The first half,
Come
Chelsea
and
did not
find
give
me.
a breathing space at
Oh
all.
my
fine.
god.
No. That's bad behavior now. That's
No,
deliberately
no,
bad
very,
behavior.
very bad.
Deliberate. That kind of behavior should be punished, and it must be.
Mourinho
If
would
not,
have
everyone would be
punched him
doing
if
that
he wasn't held down.
It's good. It's good. I can understand.
And
I
you
would
know
have
Mourinho
reacted that
now.
way.
You know
And I'm
Mourinho.
not that kind of person,
Not
but
you.
I would have reacted that way. If somebody did that to you, you would have
I
reacted.
mean, he
Yeah,
was
it's very
angry in the
creative,
first
man.
place, the game going into 96
Yes,
minutes.
and then they scored.
conceding
And then you
like
see the
that.
guy who scored is coming.
No.
Come on.
I'll beat somebody.
See, it's a full fight. You can't hold me down. God. What do you mean?
Oh my god, football. Then we forgot about the match and it became about the fight.
I was in the gym watching that game that day. Everybody left all they were doing. And we were shouting.
Are you serious?
Yes, Saturday. Everyone was very upset.
How do I ensure she gets a well-rounded experience in
Ah, Mourinho.
educating children?
Meanwhile, can I just say again, you guys should really watch King of Boys when it comes out.
Yeah, I haven't
You
seen
will
it
really
yet.
enjoy it. It's just coming out on the 26th. It was a
Oh,
premiere
I think
yesterday.
they had a premiere
Yeah,
yesterday.
it was yesterday. Yeah.
Will feature leading
So
experts
happy for
with
Kenya
practical
Day too.
It's a mad film. She did a very good job.
teachers and other stakeholders in the
A
education
very
sector.
good job.
I mean, what I really loved about this is even before people knew what it was going to be like, they were rooting
Yeah,
for
she has
her.
a lot of
Yeah.
goodwill. She has a lot of goodwill in the
Yes.
industry, and it's nice because she's got good
I mean,
energy.
it was
She tries. You can see
everywhere.
her working hard.
Yeah.
They worked hard, man. But no, that film will make sense. It makes sense. It's a thoroughly enjoyable,
Nice.
like gangster thriller film. Like
Nice.
thoroughly enjoyable. This killed me at the end. Like, we just because
Iblis said, he
I
said,
tagged them all. So
yeah,
he
he
was
said it's
commenting.
a cult classic.
It was no, it is. It actually is. Like, it's going to. I'm not joking. It's going to create a new genre of films. We're going to see more like that. I think that the first one that did it on a smaller scale for me was Bomo Bomo Express.
Yes.
And That Till
Yeah.
Tomorrow is one of my favorite Nigerian films. Like, I just because it wasn't a big budget, simple story told well. I
Yes.
chuckled, I laughed, I got emotional at the end. This one is on a much
We're
bigger
doing a whole
scale,
lot better
but
with movies.
no, our movies are they're on because this one is a long film, but you will sit
Rapid
through it watching because you want to see how the story unfolds. It's entertaining. It's very entertaining. Very entertaining. For that long film, I was worried that I was gonna feel the length. I didn't feel the length of the film. I really didn't. I really didn't. Just make sure you have the time to watch
Probably
it.
the first Nollywood movie I'm going to see at the cinema. Pay money to see.
Oh, you haven't?
What?
Okay, Judith is late. Lamau. Okay, I think
Probably traffic because the traffic out there.
Okay. Monday.
Even yesterday evening, Sunday evening, there was mad traffic. Why?
Times are
why?
changing, and that
Those
means
trucks
that
everywhere.
rushing earlier and earlier.
rising cost of school fees, shrinking attention spans, the distractions and conveniences of the internet are sure to put any parent, teacher, or school owner in a pickle on how to educate our leaders of tomorrow. Education is an important tool for nation building. The United Nations puts priority on quality education as one of the SDGs for 2030. To ensure every Nigerian child has access to quality education, all hands must be on deck. Everyone has a role to play. That's why Union Bank organized the Edu 360 Education Festival, a first of its kind fair set to hold on the 23rd and 24th of October at Harbour Point, Victoria Island. Leading
Elise
experts
comment on
will
my
be ground to
picture.
provide
Gang
practical
related,
yet
street
innovative
initiated,
solutions
Oba
for
Folu.
teachers, parents, and service
From
providers in
Odogu
education.
Male himself.
And that
Also,
Why?
autism
hub
is
for
very
the
dope.
various
These
From
stakeholders
people who put them
Odogu.
together,
It's
too.
Modish, it's a standard one.
share
Mad.
knowledge, and build
Very,
capacity.
very standard. As if
Topics
they
to be covered include: Is your child a star?
No, it was
Balancing
the last
talent and
minute. They
learning.
did not tell me I was going to do this
Financing
thing to the
options
day
for
before.
parents in schools. Life's tough enough. Stop
Training.
They're training stuff. Oh.
Yeah.
Children and young adults aren't left
How
out.
do these things
There will be
these days?
fun and games with cool
Not
prizes
now.
to be won. Experiential learning, coding, robotics, and other tailored workshops to cover money matters,
But it's
boosting your self-esteem, getting a digital dream job, etc. Notable figures such as Modupe Adefeson Olateju, Managing Director, the Education Partnership TEP Center, Bikia Graham Douglas, performing artist and founder of
Yeah,
Vita
we
Arts
have
Foundation,
plenty of those.
Bola Kadosi, Chief Digital and
just
Innovation
realized.
Officer, Union Bank,
Just
Folawe
realized back.
Mikunle, CEO Teach for Nigeria, Yeti Williams, founder and CEO of Lagos Moms, Jadesola Adedeji of STEM Meds Resource, and Dr. Yowande Oshodi, renowned child and adolescent psychiatrist. So, come with all your questions, whatever they may be, about educating a child in the 21st century, and you are sure to get answers. There will be free transportation for students from Unilag, Yabatech, and College of Education, Akoka. Log on to www.unionbankng.com/edu360. www.com/edu360 to register and get on Edu360. Union Edu360 is organized by Union Bank in partnership with Google, TEP Center, Teach for Nigeria, Nescafe, and Simply Foods.
This is Uzi Quendu, aka Uzi I, the final spitter. You are listening to Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life.
Ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens, welcome to your Virgin Atlantic flight. The seatbelt sign is off and the show has started. It's always sunny above the clouds. We're in a different world. We're tickling the stratosphere. We're flying at 30,000 feet. I'll be your host, and if you need anything, bing bong me. Now please, sit back and relax or sit forward and
sit back,
practice
relax.
that selfie.
More adverts.
It's up to you. Get ready for the party every day. Why?
Perfect timing for that to come up for me. Sorry.
Let's ask people what their favorite sweet is.
What is your favorite sweet?
Buttermint. Give me buttermint. Buttermint.
I actually used to be obsessed with buttermint though. Can I just say?
It
I
was
had to stop
Malta
buying the
sweet.
pack.
Mine was Malta sweet
buttermint.
back then. There's no Malta sweet
If I buy a pack of
anymore.
buttermint, it's done that day. Like in a few hours. That's that pack.
You know it was buttermint and Malta sweet.
Yeah,
Malta sweet
Malta
was
sweet is
everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
Buttermint was my jam. Ah, it was my jam.
Mommy, why key won't open any door? A monkey.
Very smart.
Here's another one. Why can't a leopard hide?
Because it is big?
No, because it's spotted.
Wow, you are one smart little girl.
Did you know that 90% of brain growth occurs in the first 5 years of a child's life? Pick 456 growing up milk, especially formulated with DHA for children 4 to 6 years old to help them grow up strong and smart.
30K, 30K, 30K. Everyone is shouting. Let's find out why. Madam, why the hurry?
It's UBA. Save 30,000 naira, win 1.5 million naira.
That's
I have
so-
removed all the money under my mattress and even my pillow.
Alhaji, where are you going to with this ram?
UBA office man, maybe somebody will buy this lamp from me for 30,000 naira there.
The story is clear, people. Simply save 30,000 naira at once or 10,000 naira per month into your UBA account for 3 months to qualify for the quarterly raffle draw of the UBA Y Savers promo. Promo lasts till August 2019. Terms and conditions apply. Dial *919
Okay,
*20#.
our time is upon us.
finally.
Yeah.
It's about time.
Okay,
Account today. UBA.
we're back in studio. And that That is a fact. You're back inside the locker room here on Smooth Breakfast with Valentine
And Folu.
and Biola Omowanle, aka Biorlicious.
I love the way you guys call that name.
It's a fantastic name. You did a good job with that one.
Thank
You did.
you.
Sounds like
Thank
food
you.
to me.
Yes, it sounds delicious.
Yeah.
We've got your delicious comments coming through, so we'll jump into a few of those very quickly. Chimabi Victor from Alaba International says Jose Mourinho should learn how to control his temper because what goes around comes around, and he should cast his mind back. So when he was talking to the professor, anyhow, that is Arsene Wenger. It's true. It's very true.
I
Once
love
you
this.
take us back there.
Of course, Tony from Coca says, love how Chelsea fitness coach took the headline.
Wow. This one in from Big T. Chelsea versus Man United. Great game. Chelsea owned the first half. Man United had the second. Chelsea coaching staff showed that he should be dancing with the stars. Jose Mourinho showed that he had a future in boxing judo after coaching.
What, you people like
All
this?
in all, very entertaining.
He was
says
very
Big
entertaining
T.
to see. And Mike from Akoka said, Mourinho will be like, if the headlines aren't about me, now waiting again. The reaction on Sarri's coaching assistant, though, was quite provocative.
Yeah.
The drama at the bridge aside, it was a good game for the neutrals.
Okay. Still more comments on Jose Mourinho from ZZ Classic this time, saying Mourinho is my #1 MVP of the weekend. I really enjoyed his McGregor style. Anyway, I pray Lionel Messi a quick recovery because watching Barcelona's game without him is like me not listening to Smooth for a whole day. #boring.
Oh,
Nice.
sweet.
Easy.
We get
We
Very
like it.
sweet.
We like it. All right, let's carry on. Speaking of, it takes us very nicely into the next story. Barcelona's all-time record goal scorer Lionel Messi will miss next weekend's El Clasico against Real Madrid after suffering a broken arm. Oof. So the five-time Ballon d'Or winner fell awkwardly on his right arm in the 17th minute of the La Liga clash with Sevilla at Camp Nou on Saturday and was immediately in very visible pain. So he's undergone treatment, and he underwent treatment as the game continued with his arm being wrapped by trainers while he lay on the sidelines. However, he remained down after the treatment in obvious discomfort and was unable to continue, eventually being replaced by Ousmane Dembele after 26 minutes. The club have now confirmed that he has fractured a bone in his right arm, and that rules him out for the next 3 weeks, including the visit of their arch rivals, along with a crucial Champions League tie against Serie A side Inter.
It's Lionel Messi.
This
He
is
will
harsh.
always be missed no matter how many games he's out for.
course.
I mean, that was a very, very terrible sight. He was in obvious pain. And considering, I think the whole world knows how Messi is, doesn't get injured that way or doesn't show so
Yes.
much pain.
It seems
And
almost, like nothing can happen
and
to
when
him.
he was in that obvious pain, it was obvious it was something serious, but thank God it isn't more than 3 weeks, because it would have been an absolute disaster for Barcelona, who are trying to find their way back. Even without Messi, they won the game 4-2, but obviously he was missed. And then the El Clasico is this weekend. Everyone has been talking about how the El Clasico would be without Cristiano Ronaldo, and then all of a sudden Lionel Messi gets injured, and for the first time in 11 years the El Clasico will be without either one of them, either Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi. 11 years is a long time. We have gotten used to the El Clasico, how feisty it usually is, and the presence that Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo usually bring. Yes, Cristiano Ronaldo left La Liga, but then Lionel Messi remains, and then getting injured at this time, very, very, very terrible timing. And with Barcelona also having their struggles recently, coming back against Sevilla was really brilliant. I think Luis Suarez had a really, really good game, and that was perfect timing. He has struggled almost all through the season, but coming back and having a good game against Sevilla, gives Barcelona some hope in the coming games. They play against Inter Milan in the UEFA Champions League, play against Real Madrid this weekend, have another game against Inter Milan, the return game in the Champions League. So they will miss Messi, definitely. I hope the other boys, the likes of Coutinho, the likes of Rakitic, Luis Suarez, of course, score very many goals before he comes back, because Barcelona need it. They need it.
Indeed.
Now, Julian Lopetegui looks to be on the brink of being sacked as Real Madrid head coach after a shock 2-1 home defeat that ended the European champions' abysmal run of form. The Madrid boss made 5 changes on Saturday in a bid to end a run of 4 games without a win or a goal. But Jose Luis Morales and a Roger Marti penalty put Levante 2 up inside 13 minutes in a dramatic La Liga match that included 3 VAR reviews. Madrid broke their club record for the longest goalless run in their 116-year history by failing to score in the first 56 minutes. A streak finally ended by Marcelo's strike 18 minutes from time. But despite hitting the woodwork on 3 occasions, Madrid fell to defeat, which leaves Lopetegui under further pressure to save his job, with the Clásico taking place in just 8 days' time.
Who knew it would get this bad for Real Madrid? It has
my God.
gotten from bad to worse, really. And even when it seemed like they might at least draw that game, they lost again. It's sad to see. And, that is when we start asking ourselves, is it really Real Madrid missing Cristiano Ronaldo, or is it the coach, or didn't they just do enough during the summer transfer window? I think Real Madrid are having a combination of many problems at the same time, and it is really bad now. 3 consecutive losses, playing against Barcelona at the weekend also, even though Barcelona have their struggles and will be without Messi as well. They are having injury issues. At the moment, sit 7th place on La Liga table, having just 14 points at the moment, when even the likes of Celta Vigo, who are 14th on the log, have 10 points. So there aren't many points between the teams on La Liga log at the moment. So if they lose to Barcelona, for instance, during the weekend, they drop even more places on the table. So it's been said for days now that Lopetegui might be sacked, but we have to see if he will be sacked before the El Clasico. The El Clasico is probably one of the most important games of the season. It would be very demoralizing. At the same time, we ask, who are they going to hire, and how can they win the El Clasico? It's very, very terrible timing, but we'll see how it goes. Lopetegui might be sacked before the end of the week. It will be no surprise, really. No surprise.
All right, let's get into a few more of these messages as they come through. Cruz says, finally, Kimi won a race. I hope the other Finn and Bottas also win before this season ends.
Well, he has won something.
Tony from Coca says, FIFA should call out for an emergency 3 weeks international break until Messi returns.
Wow.
If I don't watch Messi week in and week out, Smooth FM waiting again. Quick recovery, I pray.
Okay, sorry. Try to help your life. That sounds like a problem if it's that deficient without Messi.
Gosh.
I don't know. Well, Chima Abe comes back in to say Lionel Messi will surely be missed because the Barcelona team without him, they're just ordinary. While for Real Madrid coach, he should just resign honorably to protect his team. Wow.
Okay.
Bash from Yaba says, Madrid is so bad, but since it is not Jose that is their manager, then it's no big news. Jose, don't suffer from you, journalists.
It's okay now. Sorry, we know you're Team Jose. Well, I've recognized you, Bash. We salute you. We appreciate you just doing it for the current underdog of Jose Mourinho. Well, we've got this one in from Caesar who says Real Madrid need to sack their coach and please buy new players, please. Also saying watching Barcelona without Messi is so weird.
Yes,
we can understand that. There are also messages coming in on the hashtag room 981, so we'll get into those also.
Ryder Mary says, how do you make 2 great look so bad in a few months? Spain national team and Real Madrid. Talking about Lopetegui.
The real MVP.
Well, Abel Timmy Tokwe says, I've been a United fan. This weekend was the first time seeing Mourinho being disciplined to the least, or maybe not being very disciplined. Maybe that's what you mean. Thank you for that. But now let's go over to the new ATP winners just before we round up. British number 1 Kyle Edmund sealed his maiden ATP title with a 3-6, 7-6, 7-2, 7-6, 7-4 win against Gael Monfils at the European Open in Antwerp. Now, it was only Edmund's second final, having lost 6-2, 6-2 to Spain's Pablo Andujar at the Grand Prix Hassan II in Marrakesh in April. And at the Stockholm Open, 20-year-old Stefanos Tsitsipas, the world's number 16, became the first Greek player to win an ATP title, beating Latvia's Ernst Gulbis 6-4, 6-4 in an hour and 21 minutes.
Really, Kyle Edmund finally was the word. I mean, he's had this dear success syndrome for a very long time, getting to semi-finals, never reaching finals. Finally got to 2 finals again this year, and finally winning a title. Of course, the whole of Britain is happy at the moment because he's world number 1. He took that away from Andy Murray, so this is a really, really good time. The best year of his life. Then looking at Stefanos Tsitsipas, I call him my baby because he's so young. He's 20 years old. He's been blazing all year. Got to 3 finals, up to world number 16 now, the youngest ranked in the top 20. He is blazing. He has been blazing all year, and he's he's just incredible, and you get to see who will take over the likes of Rafael Nadal's and the Roger Federer's and Djokovic, and then he comes up. There's also Alexander Zverev, and it's good to see the young ones really do well at this point. So yes, the ATP is very, very safe. Tennis is very, very safe after those big boys retire.
Good to
Very
see your
safe.
baby is doing fine.
Yes, I'm very happy. I feel like a proud mom.
Oh, please, on that note, you've come to the end of Locker Room for this
Yeah.
morning. Big thank you to Biola, as always, for just giving us some of that fantastic analysis. Please find her up on her Twitter handle at BeOrlicious. It sounds as delicious.
Yes, as it is. That's
Yes.
actually lit.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, coming up, final hour, Smooth Breakfast. Valentine and I are still here.
Yeah, we get to talk Lagos. That number to call at that time, that's at 9 o'clock in a very short time, is 014489981.
Good morning.
People are yabbing Jose Mourinho like they can take it. If it was a Nigerian coach, if it